I realize it's a somewhat uncomfortable question, but given the fact that I was sent this scroll from Israel about the AIDS attack, which hotwired around the real issue so that the attackers themselves could then prosecute me as to blame for the murder of John Lennon. It's a stage play arrangement from Access Hollywood. Because I was the person who was sent the script and was shouted down about it, even though I'm right about it, there remains a very interesting question, an uncomfortable question. How did I end up in Tacoma for COVID? And did the same people vaingloriously graffiti my environment with suggestions that they also released COVID? And the answer is yes, of course that happened. They left their mark of Zorro. But they went in such a way that if you're not going to investigate even the letters of Gail Burston, you're obviously not going to investigate their physical tattoos, their metaphysical tattoos. So it's hopeless. It's pointless to point it out. Now, Penis Gabriel in the 80s hired an attorney from the Bush administration, working with Nosferatu to protect Gail Burston, who was his operator, in the AIDS attack, and hotwire around the real issue so that they could try to pin the tail on the donkey, so to speak, about Lennon and hold a penny auction for the Black Panthers sacrificing a white. And this was from the head of Yoko Ono. That's a lot of all the evidence proves. And the city of Pittsburgh, if you look at just to contradict what they say, make an obvious contradiction. I have hundreds of videos that nobody ever looks at, responds to me about, or in any way commiserates with me about. Okay, so we know that none of the people who claim they are my friends to this Amanda Harcourt weasel are actually my friends. They are like the weasel Harcourt, whose gang said things like, "I love you, man," before raping my deaf advocate. It's the typical Nosferatu trick. Poisoning somebody in the mouth and saying we did it to cleanse you of Yoko Ono's hatred for you. Now, to put it into the frame of reference that gets around places like UW, I don't have student. My sister is a very widely respected professor. So is my father. I had a lot of potential, but I was tortured by the Zionists, by Nosferatu's gang. They laughed about dragging me through glass, and they poisoned me. And one of their girls made me into her laughing stock as a rejected lover, which is a Jewish girl type of trick. And they used a neurochemical on me. You can see it, pain it caused, and it led to Parkinson's and so on through their endless tampering. So what am I arguing? Well, an actual tampering injury that left me deaf is proven to exist. And none of these friends commiserated with me about it. They reenacted the rejected lover fable to see me crying from suffering from a neurological injury. And the people claiming that they were the judge and jury, all the friends of John Lennon who had hired Gail Burston to do this to me, were people who absolutely brayed. I mean, it was beyond bragging. They brayed far and wide in magazines, in record stores, in little prancing gigs in West Virginia, that they were vehicles of absolute truth, mystical truth from Allah. English snobocrats and supremacists were vessels of absolute truth, divine insight, specially trained to sense the vibrations. Working with an Attica State Prison neuropsychiatrist on a traumatized, white, Irish, deaf kid who was tortured, dragged through glass, and ridiculed as a goy. They kidnapped me in stolen cars. They poisoned me and gassed me. They battered me into such a pulp that I was hostage, hiding in my towel closet. And they said that I was out having fun. Now, this is their idea of paranormal intelligence. I just want to make very clear that the rape of a deaf girl with epilepsy was an expression of their paranormal intelligence and the idea that the girl who made a laughingstock of me's virginity proved that I was a rapist. This is their paranormal intelligence circuit. And not one of my friends has ever protested or commiserated with me about the fact that they chemically castrated me, that they gave me Parkinson's, that they lured me to Seattle so they could continue to work with Clint Eastwood, threatening me with AIDS injections, saying that the queers needed it to get over the hurdle of the way that they spread AIDS around shamelessly as advocates for Nosferatu and Gail Burstyn. Gaza should be on the conscience of Seattle queers, but no. They sent an observer to watch me awake getting a colonoscopy. The way they reamed, it's a little more gentle, kinder and gentler than what they did to the cancer patient they killed by sodomizing him in an Israeli prison. These are so-called friends, miracle psychologists from sophomore year at UW. Well, we always say to jealous boyfriends. They don't have the slightest capacity to comprehend from the evidence that I was horrifically neurologically poisoned and was fighting against this rejection complex to try to learn to live with the injury because they're stupid, sadistic, libelous Rusted Root fans touring with this wiggler who put sparkles on his backside so that Pat Buchanan can give him a fanny shine when he shows him his David Bowie autograph collection and jumps up on one toe. I'm in English, ha 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 ha.